my goodness. Good morning, good afternoon. Whatever it is for you, I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is Strong Opinion Sports, the monthly Q&A, the question and answer segment for January. People who are getting their questions read on the show wrote in on patreon.com/Zach Schaumler. Welcome into the podcasting pickup. Right here, and if you're watching on YouTube, in the front, flip it around, I guess the left of the screen? Yes, I think, from your perspective. Got a Tommy Bahama chair here. I moved things around in my truck to create more space. The chair is now here. It's not going anywhere, and you see like the corner of it. And then underneath is my recording apparatus hidden under. So it's in the corner. It's in the shot. It is what it is. I live in a truck. I'm doing the best I can. I'm in Vegas. It's cold here. You know, it's been pretty warm all week in Vegas, and I think we got hit by a cold front. And I saw snow today. Like I was driving around. I was in Henderson, Nevada, and I saw snow, and I was like, guys, that's insane. I didn't know it snowed here. And I did not know. I knew Vegas would get cold at night because it's the desert, and the desert does get cold at night. I'm surprised at how cold it is. Your boy Zach does not handle cold very well. I hate it. I hate it so much. And, warm during the day, cold at night. That's the desert. We're going to Phoenix next. I hope it's a little warmer during the day and maybe, hopefully, a little bit warmer at night. Question number 1 today comes from Golden Leo. He says, "Hey, Zacharoni and Cheese, plus your optics," which, your eyeballs. I'm curious about where you think Sean Payton will go to coach next year. In that same vein, what do you think the Saints will get in return? And I'm going to continue the question, but let's acknowledge first, Sean Payton has been hired by the Denver Broncos, and a trade was made. We'll get into it in a second. But he does continue with an idea. He says, there's been a lot of back and forth about the Houston Texans and whether they'd give up the number 12 pick. Personally, I think that'd be a great result for both teams, as the Texans would get a great coach to work with whatever quarterback they drafted too, and the Saints would get some draft capital to help fill the roster and rebuild their team. Do you think a coach of Sean Payton's caliber is worth a top 15 draft pick, or maybe even, in the case of Arizona, a top 5 pick? Hope you're well, keeping awesome, and keep doing awesome things, Leo and Gabe. A lot here. I'm going to first say, I think a coach of Sean Payton's caliber is certainly worth a top 15 pick, and to the right organization, maybe even a top 5 pick. Right? Working with Kyler Murray, that would have been worth it. Arizona, I'm surprised they didn't make that kind of aggressive move. The most important people in an NFL franchise are the coach and the quarterback, number 1 and number 2. And Denver just got the coach right. That's awesome. Russell Wilson signed a 5-year contract with $161 million fully guaranteed. For 4 more years, Denver's going to have Russell Wilson. You're not getting rid of him. So they got to make it work. And I think Sean Payton is absolutely the right person to make that happen. I could see there's possibilities in the contract to maybe walk away before the end of 5 years, but again, he's guaranteed $161 million. You do everything you can to make it work with Russ before you move on. Sean Payton's awesome. That's outstanding. So I love this move. I think it would have been worth it for Arizona to trade a top 5 pick to get Sean Payton even. Because again, the 2 most important positions in football, coach and quarterback. Arizona's got an awesome quarterback. They could add Sean Payton to help work with Kyler. They don't, but I'm surprised. I'm not going to lie. We're later in the hiring cycle, and I thought for sure Sean Payton was going to just not coach this year. I was starting to think, you know what? It's not going to happen. And, the report is that Denver gave up a first-round pick. What's funny, I saw people say that, Denver's trading their 2023 first-round pick to get Sean Payton, and I was like, they don't have a 2023 first-round pick. They traded it to Seattle for Russell Wilson. So I'm not sure what that means. I think it really means it's the next first-round pick Denver's going to have. But keep your eye on that. It's a developing story, right? It broke today. But I think Denver hiring Sean Payton is awesome. And you asked about Houston, so I'm going to mention Houston because I assume, Golden Leo, you must be a Texans fan. They hired DeMeco Ryans, who is an awesome head coach. He's going to bring I think a new culture and energy, and that's all great. That's all really, really nice stuff. DeMeco Ryans going to Houston. The problem with DeMeco Ryans is I think, my buddy Marcus Whitman, that franchise guy, I was on his podcast the other day. And he made this great point. He said, look, this is Houston hiring the best coach available, being respectable, showing that they're trying to win and change things. And I totally agree with all that. I don't love the defensive head coach thing. You're going to get a young quarterback, probably number 2 overall. In fact, no matter what happens, Houston's going to probably draft a quarterback number 2 overall, unless they make some crazy trade for Derek Carr. I wish they'd hired an offensive head coach to work with their young quarterback. So, I don't know how long DeMeco Ryans is going to last. I wish they'd hired an offensive guy, but I can't acknowledge that DeMeco Ryans does appear like a guy who's going to be a great leader. Probably very similar to Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. The defense is going to be awesome. Players are going to fight hard for him. He's going to be a good leader. But he doesn't work with quarterbacks, and that's a problem in today's NFL. Remy writes in. Remy says, Zach's eyeball sacks. I love that. Eyeball sacks, apparently. I'll dive right in. Where is Trey Lance going next year, and will he be successful? Love the podcast / YouTube channel. I feel a kinship to you because not a lot of us are finding it easy to survive out here. Hey, me either. But listening to you speak gives me peace knowing that it's not just me. Stay safe and healthy, Remy. Did you say I'm giving you peace knowing that not only are you not doing well, but I'm not doing well? Great. Well, I'm glad to be relieving to you, Remy. I saw a report today. I don't remember it exactly, but basically the 49ers would take someone was offering, or there was some rumor that maybe Trey Lance could get traded for a 3rd-round pick, okay? If I were the 49ers, and again, this is something I talked about with Marcus Whitman on his podcast, I think Trey Lance should stay with the 49ers. I don't know why the 49ers would trade him away. A 3rd-round pick for a really talented quarterback who might work out. If Trey Lance is the quarterback you thought he was when you drafted him, then you keep him on your roster and you let him sit. And eventually, if he's got the talent I think he does, he's going to beat out Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is your day 1 starter next year. And let's see if Trey Lance can steal the job. Also, what if Brock Purdy gets hurt? I don't know why. He's on a rookie contract. His trade value isn't very high. Trey Lance, a 3rd-round pick, isn't great. I don't know why you don't keep him and see what he can become. Develop the young man. I don't really understand what the 49ers gain from trading Trey Lance away. Unless you can get like a 1st-round pick, I don't know why you would do it. He's a talented young quarterback. Have him on the roster. He's a backup quarterback for now. Maybe Brock Purdy gets hurt. Maybe Trey Lance develops. He's so physically gifted. That's my perspective. I would keep Trey Lance in San Francisco, and that's what I hope happens. If he does get traded away, you're looking at maybe Miami. I don't know. I'm in Vegas. I was talking with EJ, the host of the Bootleg Football podcast, and EJ's like, what Trey Lance does really well is the opposite of what Tua does really well. Like the way Miami won a bunch of games with Tua, you'd have to do it something totally different with Trey Lance. He can't run that system, getting the ball out really quick and throwing a bunch of slants and RPOs. So I don't know that Miami's a realistic option. I'm not really sure. I just go back to this. I think Trey Lance should be kept in San Francisco. That is what I would do if I was that organization. Uriah writes in, says, Hi, Zach. As someone who played quarterback, what do you think QB should be judged on? He says, as someone who played the position, do you think quarterbacks should be judged on wins and losses? Also, what advice would you give to Arch Manning as he is rising up the ranks and he has to face the comparison and expectations of living up to Peyton and Eli? 2 questions. I'll tackle both. Should quarterbacks be judged on wins and losses? At first, I said sometimes, kind of, right? But then I thought about it deeper. And you judge a quarterback based on their performance, whether they win or they lose. Because sometimes you can win when your quarterback plays badly, and you can lose when your quarterback plays great. If you don't make plays at the end of the game, that's on you, right? Look, there are a lot of moments where a quarterback has the ball in the end of the fourth quarter and they don't deliver. And that's a criticism. You criticize a quarterback in that moment. But there are games where quarterbacks are awesome and their team just sucks around them. So it's just, I don't know that, Uriah, I don't know you can make a hard, fast rule. Wins and losses are the quarterback's fault or aren't the quarterback's fault. You judge them on their performance, and it's a nuanced case-by-case basis. Does that make sense? I think you just have to treat every situation uniquely. You can't make this rubric and paint with a broad brush and say, this rule applies to everybody. Because sometimes you do judge a quarterback for losing a game. But you judge them because their performance was bad, not because they lost. Does that make sense? I think it does. I think you judge a quarterback based on how they play, not necessarily on whether they win or lose, but often they come hand in hand. How about Arch Manning? What advice would I give to Arch Manning? He is the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning. He's the son of Cooper Manning, the oldest Manning brother. He's got that name, Manning. He's a quarterback entering college. And he's got the burden of expectations. A lot of weight behind his name. My advice to Arch Manning would be, hey man, focus on yourself. Be the best you can be. And that really goes for anything. Like, if you're in a quarterback competition, you can't worry about the guys next to you or behind you. You every day got to be a little bit better at what you're doing and focus on yourself. You focus on you, and that's all you can do. Because you know, if the other guy is way better than you, it doesn't matter. You got to be the best you can be. And I learned that way too late in my quarterback career. Also, for him, I would recommend don't have Twitter and Instagram on your phone. Just hire a social media manager to run your stuff and back off. Enjoy your life. Focus. I really hope that Arch Manning gets to have joy and peace and confidence and enjoy the game of football. It's like I said, there's a burden of expectation that comes along with his name. And if you can somehow ignore all that and be the best you can be and focus on yourself, you're going to win in life. I think being the best you can be is great advice for anybody. You can't control the guy next to you or behind you. You can always control yourself and incrementally get better and work really hard. I really love Jalen Hurts, the Eagles quarterback. Every year I've watched him, he's gotten a little bit better. And when you stack that kind of improvement over and over and over again, you look back and you're like, wow, I've come a long way from where I started. And I love that. And I want to see Arch Manning worry about himself and worry about being the best he can be and hopefully block out all the noise about his name and expectations. And I really want that young man to enjoy football and to peacefully enjoy football and have a lot of confidence doing it. And I hope outside factors do not impact him, but it's really on him to learn those lessons and figure that stuff out. Connor writes in. Connor says, hey, Zach, I have a suggestion that may help you grow your audience. Oh, hold on. There's one I missed. Aiden says, hi, Zach without a K. I love that. Are you as down on Josh Allen as other people are? I feel like people are down on him because of the turnovers and hero ball. However, I think if Shakur and Gabe caught those 2 deep shots and Knoxville actually caught that touchdown, people would be looking at the Bills more highly. Have a nice weekend and go Bills, Aiden. So, fans of Josh Allen, it's been a roller coaster, right? Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the NFL. Then he loses to Joe Burrow, and suddenly he's awful, right? It's just back and forth and one extreme and the other, and I hate the extremes. That's what dominates our media. It's really frustrating. Josh Allen lost to Joe Burrow. Sure, he got outplayed a little bit. I heard I think it was Nick Wright who said that Josh Allen gets more praise for losing to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs last year than Joe Burrow got for beating Patrick Mahomes last year. And that's fair. I think a lot of people, as Joe Burrow, really, beat Josh Allen and raised expectations once again for himself and got to the second AFC title in a row. Josh Allen was kind of like, we thought you were going to win the Super Bowl and you lost to Joe Burrow. There was kind of his reputation got deflated a little bit. But I just don't understand why it goes from one extreme to the other. He's either the best quarterback in the NFL or he's a bum. And he's great. He's incredible. He's a top 3 quarterback in the league, Josh Allen. He got beat by Joe Burrow. I don't know. You ever realize that Josh Allen doesn't play defense? Blame the coach. Blame Sean McDermott. The head coach who, I know Leslie Frazier's a defensive coordinator, but he had a hand in the game plan. I don't know, man. I thought that the Bills got out coached, and really the person that should be getting focused on is I would have a lot of urgency and say, we've got this incredible young quarterback, Josh Allen. Maybe we should fire our defensive head coach. We've hit a ceiling. I don't think we can go any farther. We've kind of plateaued as a football team. Maybe the way we get farther ahead is by firing Sean McDermott and bringing in an offensive head coach. They're not going to do that in Buffalo. They're kind of complacent and happy with where they are. But imagine Josh Allen coached by Sean Payton. Imagine that. You're not going to see that. He got hired by Denver. He's going there. But there's a sense of contentment with Buffalo and the LA Chargers that baffles me. I don't know why they're not aggressively pursuing better coaches to help their young quarterbacks. You got Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, some of the most talented young men in the entire NFL, coached by defensive head coaches and coordinators that leave something to be desired. It's like, if you could go back, imagine if Brian Daboll was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Brian Daboll, the coach who left Buffalo, was the offensive coordinator that developed Josh Allen. He gets hired by the Giants and takes a terrible roster, not only to a playoff game, but they won a playoff game. The Giants beat the Vikings in the playoffs. Imagine if that guy who led the Giants was the head coach in Buffalo. That's why you don't hire a defensive head coach, because you sometimes lose the best coach on your roster who's the offensive coordinator. I don't know. Connor writes in. Connor says, "Hey, Zach, I have a suggestion that may help you grow your audience. I think you could clip some of your takes and analysis and use them for YouTube Shorts and TikToks. Not sure if you've thought about this or would want to do that. I just thought it was a decent idea. Keep up your grind, man. Can't wait for the new content." One problem here is I don't know how to edit vertical content. Like I kind of could figure it out, but it's time consuming to problem solve that. And then it's also time consuming to figure out what makes good content in 60 seconds or less, like cutting it down to be small enough. Maybe someday, like, you hire an editor. I don't know. I don't care enough. I'm at this point in my life where I will only make stuff I enjoy. The idea of making TikTok shorts doesn't interest me. And I don't like being a shill. Like, there are a lot of people that, and look, I understand that this hasn't helped me. But there are people that sit for hours and try to predict what the algorithm is going to do on YouTube and what's best. And I'm at a point where I've kind of accepted I'm going to have to get another job to pay my bills. Like I'll get another job. Content becomes a side thing for me. And then I can just make videos like Derek Carr Film Analysis 2022. Boring title. Who cares? I'm making what I think is quality and letting it speak for itself rather than trying to find the right thumbnail and the perfect clickbaity title. I hate all that. I hate the salesmanship it requires to be a YouTuber that gets clicks. And I understand that hurts me a lot, but I've accepted I'm going to get another job to pay my bills, and I'm going to let the content just be stuff I like and I'm proud of. And I don't think I would enjoy making YouTube shorts. Adam writes in. Adam says, "Hello, Zach's Eyeballs. I've got 2 questions for you. You have said Daniel Jones is a quarterback in a QB category you compare to frozen pizza. It's fine, but you'd much prefer different pizza. It seems like he has made quite a bit of progress this year and can really hurt opponents with his mobility. On top of that, he's led the Giants to the playoffs with at least one win, running prior to the end of the Giants-Eagles. Has your opinion of Daniel Jones changed at all? If so, how? As a Rams fan, I don't want the 49ers to be good. That being said, they look like the best team in the league, and as much as I want them to be bad, they impress me every week. They're fun to watch. They've got a great coach, lots of playmakers on offense, and arguably the best defense in the league. Maybe we have the answer to this by the time this episode comes out, but I want to ask you this. Who realistically can beat the 49ers? We learned that. Obviously, Philly. That's our answer. So let's talk about Daniel Jones. Why did the Giants win a playoff game? Why did the Giants make the playoffs? Why did the Giants have the success they had this year? It was because of their head coach, Brian Daboll, not necessarily because of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is fine. He's awesome. I love when he runs. He ran for 78 yards against the Vikings in that playoff victory. That's really cool. I like Daniel Jones. But I would be very happy if they found a more talented quarterback. I love that idea. We'll circle back to that in a moment. In fact, let's do it. Someone wrote in about this as well. I want to double up. Jake wrote in. Jake says, all right, Zach Eyes Peas. I think he means Zach Eyed Peas, like the Black Eyed Peas. What in the world is going to happen with Daniel Jones? I love my Giants. And DJ had a phenomenal year compared to the rest of his career, but I don't see a world where he can win a Super Bowl. But he's been so good, I don't know what you'd want to replace him with either. The only situation I'd like is trading up for Bryce Young. I don't think that's going to happen. It would take trading our first, second, third, and probably throw Saquon in or something as well, which I think I'd be okay with, but I don't see a world where they make that trade. No one available seems better than Daniel Jones, but I also don't think he's the guy. What should they do? Also, dude, your dad is great. I legit teared up a bit when I saw your new episode come out because I was so happy. He definitely needs some time to really get settled in and comfortable, I think, but I'm sure he'll get it real quick. And man, the back and forth between you two is awesome. Plus, he's got this weird dry humor that I'm loving. Can't wait to hear more of it. So, in case you don't know, Strong Opinion Sports as a podcast has continued. The audio feeds they're out. You can listen. And there's a YouTube channel called Strong Opinion Sports Weekly, where I post a weekly podcast with my father. I canceled the show, and sponsors reached out and were like, "Yo, we have money if you want it." A network reached out and was like, "Look, we have money for you, a monthly payment. You need to keep doing the show if you want it." And I said, "Can I get a co-host?" And they said, "Yes, you can get a co-host." And I said, "Well, I want to get paid to talk about sports with my father." So that is what I did. So I do a podcast now with my dad. Strong Opinion Sports. It's called Strong Opinion Sports Weekly. For small reasons behind the scenes, but it goes with the same RSS feed if you're on Spotify, YouTube, whatever, Spotify, iTunes, whatever audio feed there is. The show has appeared there, and there have been 2 episodes, and we're recording the next one tomorrow. So that's cool. And it's been really fun with my dad. I really enjoyed that. Now, what do you do with Daniel Jones? The Giants are going to re-sign Daniel Jones. The roster has so many problems and needs. And there's no easy way to get a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, right? You got to keep building your roster. Maybe eventually you upgrade quarterbacks if there is an opportunity. But I think Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback in New York next year. And for the foreseeable future, until you get an opportunity to replace him. Like, I love Anthony Richardson would be an awesome replacement to Daniel Jones. Or the backup until he's ready to take the job from Daniel Jones. He's that awesome quarterback out of Florida. He's not going to fall far enough to get to the Giants. So I think you re-sign Daniel Jones and you wait till you get an opportunity to replace him, which could be who knows how long. But the Giants got to just keep building their roster and making their football team better. Daniel writes in. Daniel says, as a Texans fan, I'm worried that we won Week 18 and lost the number 1 overall pick. However, I'm recalling how much the Bears love linebackers. Mack, Roquan Smith, Urlacher, Singletary, Butkus, etc. So could the Bears just draft Will Anderson, number 1 overall? Then maybe we, the Houston Texans, can draft Bryce Young, number 2 overall? Or do you think the Bears will overcome their love for linebackers and trade down? If I was Houston, I would probably draft Justin Fields. I back up. I would probably draft Bryce Young, then trade Justin Fields away to get another couple draft picks and build around Bryce Young. The other option is you trade down. And you trade down from the number 1 overall pick with probably the Colts at the number 4 pick and get a couple more draft picks. And you just use the picks that Indy gives you to build around your young quarterback. Still, there is a small likelihood that, because if Chicago trades down, let's say with the Colts, then the Colts are going to have the number 1 overall pick and take Bryce Young. Or if the Bears take Bryce Young, obviously he's off the table. However, there is a chance that the Bears just draft Will Anderson and don't trade down or draft Bryce Young. And then the Texans could get Bryce Young, the quarterback out of Alabama. So I don't know that the hope is lost completely. What I'd be more scared about if I was Houston is our division rival, or one of our division rivals, the Colts, sweeping in and taking the quarterback they want. That would scare me more than anything. So keep your eye on that. I'm curious about... Looks like Bryce Young is going to play in the AFC South. It just depends on which team he will play for. Jason for President writes in and says, "Greetings, Zach. I've been a patron for a while now, but never really written in. I love your content, and by the way, kind of jealous of the truck life. My best friend moved into a van and having the time of his life. Now for my question. I've been following your social media posts of how long film analysis takes, and I'm excited for the reboot despite my love of the podcast. But have you considered doing small film analysis of individual games instead of the entire season of a particular quarterback? I would love a breakdown of Daniel Jones' wildcard round versus the divisional round because they look like 2 totally different quarterbacks. Thank you for your time and wishing you the best." It's a good idea to do a smaller, more controlled film analysis. It's hard for me because I feel like I am leaving... It's incomplete if I do a smaller... If I just do 2 games, what about the rest of the year? It feels weird to ignore the rest of the year if I just cover the playoff games, for example. But I will say, I wasted a month of my life working on a Derek Carr film analysis where I watched every game and cut it all up, and I got to the end of it and I was like... I got to the end of the research process and I was like, there's nothing interesting here. The story sucks and I don't want to waste more time on this crappy video, so I'm just going to move on to the next quarterback. And that hurt. So film analysis is on the way. I'm in a transitionary period, figuring out what I'm transitioning to next. I think it's Russell Wilson. But I wasted a month of time with Derek Carr, and I wish I had a smaller, more manageable scope. So maybe that is something I will work on in the future, is making smaller, bite-sized film analysis videos that are less work and less preparation behind the scenes. But also, I get accused all the time of being lazy and not working hard. So I'm like, if I disappear for 2 months and what I come back with is an incredible, long-form, banger video, at least no one can criticize me for not working hard. You know what I mean? I don't know. I DoorDash 8 hours a day, but I'm lazy apparently somehow. I don't know. I'm just trying to pay my bills and survive, man. Josh writes in. Josh says, Salutations to Schaumler's eyeballs. I hope this comment finds you well. My question is this. Which of the one-and-done playoff teams has the best chance to win a Super Bowl next year? Do you believe any of them will miss the playoffs entirely in 2024? The one-and-doners include the Minnesota Vikings, LA Chargers, Miami Dolphins, and Seattle Seahawks. I hope all is well. If you're ever up in the New England area, let me know and we can shake our heads at the Patriots offense together sometime. Hey, it's getting better. Got Bill O'Brien. I watched Bill O'Brien coach Dorian Thompson-Robinson a lot this week at the Shrine Bowl. Interesting, fun. I was 2 car lengths away from Bill Belichick. I got a picture. It's crazy. You're like, man, he's right there. I could touch him. He's got probably melanoma on his face. Got some kind of Band-Aid on his face. Really cool. Got to see both Bills, Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick, the Billy Bees, working with the quarterbacks. It was really, really interesting to listen in on those conversations this week. Now, I think Miami's probably got the best chance of the teams that were one and done to make the Super Bowl next year. You hire Jimmy Garoppolo. So you bring in Jimmy Garoppolo to compete with Tua. And based on where Tua's career is, you can see Jimmy Garoppolo as a starting quarterback next year in Miami. Plus, they added Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator. I feel pretty good about Miami. Who could regress and miss the playoffs? I think Seattle, Minnesota, or the Chargers. Think about this. The division around all of these teams is getting better. The Packers, the Lions, the Bears, they're all going to be better than they were this past year. The Rams, the Cardinals, they're going to be better than they were this past year in the NFC West. And the 49ers made the NFC title game. So Seattle's going to have a really tough division they're playing in. Then the AFC West, the Raiders are probably going to be better. Denver just hired Sean Payton. They're probably going to be better. KC's playing in the Super Bowl. So I look at the competition around Minnesota, Seattle, or the LA Chargers and think, hey, the division around them is getting better. And these are all teams I have concerns about. I think they're all potentially teams that could miss the playoffs next year based on, again, the other teams they're competing against in the division all got better. ENK writes in, ENK says, Zach, do you think the Dolphins should bring in Taylor Heineke? It seems that the Commanders do not want him, and the Dolphins need a backup quarterback / starter. Do you think it would be a good move for Miami? I think Taylor Heineke would fit into the offense perfectly and could win a lot of games if Tua struggles or gets injured. Heineke sure is an awesome idea. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is more likely. Or Derek Carr. Derek Carr would be awesome. It's a good fit. Derek Carr in the Dolphins offense. Throwing a Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that would be awesome. I think Derek Carr is probably going to go to Carolina. His values are really aligned with Frank Reich, and they need a quarterback. Although I'm open to the idea of Sam Darnold remaining the quarterback in Carolina. I think with a good coach who works with quarterbacks and played the quarterback position, Frank Reich might be able to help solve a lot of problems for Sam Darnold in Carolina. But I think the quarterback Miami's most likely to get is a guy who is connected. Mike McDaniel came from the 49ers system. Coached under Kyle Shanahan. Mike McDaniel was the offensive coordinator for Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco. They've worked together before. We don't know where Jimmy G is going to play next year. Jimmy Garoppolo, in my opinion, is going to go play in Miami. And then you got two quarterbacks, Jimmy G and Tua, with injury concerns and weaker arms, and they get the ball out quickly. You would think that they can't both get hurt, right? But then you saw what happened in San Francisco in their playoff run. I don't know. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, though, is going to the Miami Dolphins to play quarterback. That is what I expect. Andy writes in. Andy says, day one of asking for a Geno Smith film analysis of the 2023-2022 season. We had more, I thought. Let me look. I know we have more, but I thought we had more earlier that I might have missed. So, Andy, I hear you want a Geno Smith film analysis. I hear you. I don't know when that'll happen, but I hear you. I appreciate that. Andrew writes in and says, Zach, as a podcaster, sports journalist, YouTuber, whatever you call yourself, does the NFL's unpredictability ever give you an existential crisis? It's your job to look at teams and players and make predictions, yet predictions are impossible to make. Nobody would have thought that Geno Smith or Brock Purdy would be this good. Nobody would have thought that Russell Wilson would be this bad. Guessing which college players will succeed in the NFL? Forget it. It's practically impossible. So how do you deal with having to make predictions on things that sometimes appear to be random and unpredictable? Do you ever think my job is making these predictions, but making these predictions is impossible? So what am I here for? Thanks, Andrew. Dude, I hate predictions. They're impossible. They're stupid. I like talking about things that I think might happen. For example, if this team wins, I love saying if one of these two teams is going to blow out the other, it's more likely to be this team than this other team, right? I love the storylines. I love talking about what could happen, like reasons why a team could win or lose. But when it comes down to just predicting a winner point blank, I'm like, I don't know. Anything could happen here. And then how do you predict the upsets where teams rise to the occasion and play a different game? I don't know. It is impossible. I hate it. I wonder if there's a way to gamify predictions, like keep track of them and kind of compete against each other. Like me against my dad maybe would be pretty fun. But for now, I don't really do predictions. I kind of hate them, even though there's value because people like hearing you say, I think this is going to happen. People like that. And then revisiting it when you're right or wrong. But I also hate how much people brag about getting predictions right because I'm like, you just guessed. You act like you have this crazy secret knowledge. And I'm like, dude, you guessed and you got it right. You're not a genius for that. You're a gambler. So I don't know. Final write-in of the day. By the way, Vegas is it's crazy how everything in Vegas wants your money. Every city's like that, really, but Vegas is so much more open about it. And it's fascinating to me. Troy writes in. Troy says, hello to the all-important Zach's eyeballs. Listening to SOS episode 536, I don't agree with your dad saying we should sign Jimmy G as a Raider fan. Personally, I think we should draft a quarterback, maybe Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. How say you? I say the Raiders are going to get Tom Brady. I was a skeptic for a long time. I'm like, it's just a rumor. Like, why would you believe that? What is Tom Brady going to get out of the Raiders? But Tom Brady signed a deal with the Wynn Hotel in Vegas to put the TB12 program there. It's a big deal. Tom Brady's got a deal to operate out of Vegas. Hello? He's going to the Raiders. He's worked with Josh McDaniels. It makes sense. Like, why would you get rid of Derek Carr unless you think you can land at Tom Brady? I don't know how the Raiders win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. They were awful last year. But I think Tom Brady is going there. And that's interesting to me. So those are my thoughts on Tom Brady going to the Raiders. I think he is going there. And I think he is better than drafting a young quarterback like Will Levis, who I don't know how that makes you much better. Those are my thoughts. Guys, I love you. How long do we go for? Like 30 minutes? I love you. I appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed the monthly Q&A for January. Super Bowl's coming up. We get to watch Travis Kelce play Jason Kelce. It'll be fun. Tune in to Strong Opinion Sports, the regular scheduled podcast. Go to feeds. You can look up the YouTube channel Strong Opinion Sports Weekly. It's me and my dad. We're continuing the legacy of Strong Opinion Sports, and it's so fun to have someone to bounce ideas off of. It makes making the content much more fun to talk to someone else and back and forth with them. So listen to Strong Opinion Sports. It's awesome. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great day. And bam, we are